Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the automation show where we talk about different use cases and different ways to automate your business processes. So, here we are back with another topic today. So, me and my friend Sandeep. So, we have new use case that we want to discuss today. So, let's go and let's see that what we have today for you guys. Okay, so here I have that slide. So here, okay. So today we are going to talk about recruitment process, how we can automate that process, which is required by every company, whether it's a small, medium size or big size company. Every company need to have resources that need to hire, right? So they have this particular team which is working on that, getting new hires, getting new consultant resources for their projects. So they commonly use these based on the project, or sometime after some time, or maybe uh, regularly. So even though they are using some kind of third party vendors, but still some of the things they need to take care of that. So we are going to discuss how we can automate this process. Okay, so let's have a quick introduction about ourselves before jumping into the main topic. So myself Mahinder, and I have my friend Sandeep Misra with me. So we both are Microsoft MVP as well as C Sharp Corner MVPs, and we have been working with more than 10 years in Microsoft technologies. So here we do these sessions on using different topics. On we work on automation mainly here, where we talk nowadays. It's like we are talking about the Copilot more oftenly on the topics. So that's what we are continuing today as well. So let's jump into the topic and let's see what is the agenda for today. So we will start with the basic introduction about our use case, and then we will talk about the different tools that we are going to utilize for this automation. Okay, so we are going to use some of the standard connectors that is part of this this ecosystem, and then we will talk about MCP server, that some of the CP server we are going to utilize today's that do this automation in the Copilot Studio. Okay, so now here as I said that this recruitment process, that's basically a basic need that for every company. Okay, or you are a consulting basically who provide resources to other companies, then also you need to have a particular process that you need to follow to do that recruitment, right? To hire something, some resources, some new skill persons, new skill consultants, right? So there is a particular process that you need to follow. So for example, in a traditional way, that if some company required some resources, maybe you will get information from them that okay, we required these kind of skill set for our project, and we are looking for the resources, maybe number of resources that, and can you help us? Then someone from that recruitment team, they will start working on that. They will go through that, what is the JD for that job, and what are the skill they are looking for. And maybe there will be some kind of database where they have managed all these resources or the skill set, where they will go and look for all that matching JD key points, right? Normally they look for some kind of key search, a keyword, maybe let's say .NET resource, maybe Copilot resources, maybe Power Platform resources, Dynamics 365 resources. Depending on the key search, they normally go to their database, and from there they extract that okay, these are the resources that we can share with this company, right? So that's basically all the process nowadays. Is traditionally we do this manual, right? So we follow these steps manually. We are getting email manually, going there, replying those emails, searching for that resume, attaching those to the email. So those kind of things are totally manual at this point of time, but it can be easily and with less effort we can automate it. We can automate it using the different tools that is part of the Microsoft ecosystem. And today we are going to talk about how we can leverage Copilot Studio and the tool that is part of Copilot Studio to automate this particular process. Okay, so we'll see that how we can build that agents which can take care, handle this recruitment process. So in between whatever flow that we will depending on the company, normally it's high level, it's the same flow, but depending on the company it can change. So you guys can modify it accordingly, but we are going to take a generic flow that is mostly followed by these consulting companies. Okay, so first thing that we'll say here, that we will get that information that there is some hiring, there is a position that is available and we need some skill set, right? So you will get a email from that company or from vendor that okay, we are starting a new project and we require these type of skill set, and just send us some resume that we can shortlist and we can start our hiring process, right? So the basic thing that will here is this email that we are getting. So that's basically the triggering point for us, right? So you will get that information somewhere, this email will come into your system, and that's what where our agent will start acting on this. Okay, so our agent is basically looking for that email. As soon as that email will come, then it will be a kind of a trigger for the agent, and it will grab that detail from here, and then it will start working on that. Okay, so this Outlook connector, that's basically part of the Power Platform. It provided us different kind of triggers and different kind of actions. Using those triggers we can easily get that, let's say some email came, and as soon as that email is there, we want to perform some action. Okay, so that kind of thing we can utilize this Outlook connector, right? So we have different actions and different triggers that we can use, right? So now this is the starting point for our flow here. So we got that email, we read that context of that email, the matter of that email, and then based on that basically we have extracted the data, right? That data, whatever data is there on that email body or subject, and based on that it will extract those information, and then it will start acting on that. Okay, now the next thing here is the Microsoft Copilot Studio. So in the Copilot Studio, basically what we are going to do, we are building basically agents, right? Now, what is Copilot Studio? So in a simple way, this is basically a platform which allows us to build agents. Okay, now we can, nowadays, like agent is a buzzword, so we can simply say that it allows us to build that agent. But not only the agent, we can build different type of assistant here, Copilot here, AI powered agents here, which basically consume that information that we are passing, right? And based on this information it can take the decision. Okay, it can take the decision what is the next action that it is going to perform, right? That's what we are going to do here in the Copilot Studio. So we have different type of things that it's very just like we have in the Power Platform, all the other application editor, we have just drag and drop. You just need to go and configure that their connection information, their settings. So those type of things also we do on the Copilot Studio. We can easily create our custom co-pilots. We can create our agents. We can create different type of co-pilots here. We can have the multi orchestration here, like if we are building multiple agents, how that agent will be managed. So we can build that manager agent. That's what we call that multi-agent orchestration. We can easily do that integration with the different applications that's basically part of the Power Platform, or we can also connect to the third party vendor systems or third party APIs easily. Okay, so for requiring that information, if you want to get some kind of data that's not part of the this Power Platform or the Dataverse or the any other application DB, then we can use these integration option to get the data from these applications. Okay, so there are inbuilt connectors as available. We can use that MCP server, so to structured way to connect this different application and get the data from there. Okay, so that's basically it's basically working for us, this IDE. This is the here we are developing our agent. So this is for us a kind of a development studio, the studio where we developing these agents, right? Now, MCP server. So what is MCP server here? That we in the Copilot Studio, this is basically as the name suggests, model context protocol. So this is a new way of connecting to the different application in a more structured and secured way. Okay, so like earlier we always use these different connectors as well, right? Using those connectors we can connect to the different applications and get the data from those applications. But now we have a better way of connecting these applications and getting the data in a more structured way. Right now the difference here is that if we talk about like the question comes in a simple question, that why MCP server? Okay, why we want to go for that when we have the connectors? So the connectors are basically a predefined actions and triggers are there. That will be a what you say that fix triggers are there. You have the fixed step that you will set up, then using those set of actions you can use and get the data, right? But if something that you are looking for should be dynamic and more AI powered way, where it can AI take the decision. Okay, so what will be the next action? You are not pre-configuring it that this will be the next action. Instead, AI will be taking a decision here that okay, what is the next action that I'm going to perform, and that's what here is the MCP server. Okay, so it is more secure and more structured way of getting the data, so we can easily get the data in a real time way from these different applications. Or if you want to connect to custom APIs, that also we can do using that MCP servers. So some of that MCP server that is available in the Copilot Studio, so you can access them there while you are building your agent, and that's what we are using for our demo, for our use case today. Okay, now next thing is the SharePoint connector. Okay, so as I said that when you will get that email, you have this context and you have the detail, okay, what type of skill set they are looking for. The next thing that you will look into your database, right? So here SharePoint we are using like a database where all the resume are basically stored on the document library, right? So our agent is basically getting that information from there. It will extract that skill set, what are the skill set required, and based on that skill set it will go and look into this database SharePoint document library, and it will extract those resumes, right? Resources, maybe let's say top 3 resources, depending on that what we can do here. It will get that data from there and it will present that for the further action, right? So SharePoint connector is basically part of this Power Platform. We can easily utilize this connector to connect on the Copilot Studio, or if you are working with the Power Automate, or there also you can use this one. You can easily it has different actions and triggers are there. Let's say for example, when the new document is added, right? If you want to extract that document information, or you want to create the document from that maybe email is coming with some attachment, you want to extract that attachment from there and you want to store on the SharePoint, right? So those type of thing that is there, we have these capabilities. That's part of this SharePoint connector. Okay, so in today's use case we are going to use this SharePoint connector to host our resume, or the resume that for the resources, and it will give us that resources, that resume, and it will be shared with the next action. Okay, now, so now we are, as I said, that there are some of that MCP server that is part of the Copilot Studio. You can utilize them, and one of them is the email management MCP server. So email management MCP server is basically meant for, any kind of email related activities. Okay, so for example, if let's say email is coming, you want to read that email, you want to extract that information, you want to understand that what is the context of the email, what they are saying in the email. Okay, so based on that context, it may write that response. If you want to, just let it decide that, okay, whatever email will be there, and you need to understand that email, and then you need to send the response to the sender. Okay, so those kind of thing, those kind of capabilities are there on this email MCP server. So it will be we are using it here for basically doing that. Once we have that resume with us, then it will create that email, it will send that email to the sender, and it will attach all those resume that we have here, so that sender will get those resume, and then they can go through that, and then they can take the decision that, okay, we want to do that screening step here for these resources, or maybe they want to ask for some more resume. So those type of thing, that is basically we are going to use this email management MCP server. Okay, now what is next? So we have that email, we got that basic information, basic requirement. Based on that, we looked into that. Okay, our knowledge base, our data sources, where we have the resume for that, all our resources, we have extracted those. Now we have set up these, email using those resume we have sent to the sender. Now next thing is that we want to, maybe let's say we want to set up a follow-up call with that sender, right? Or maybe we want to get their feedback. Okay, so based on the JD, that we understand that this is the JD and this is the resume that is fitting, properly fit to the JD, but we want to get some feedback that we have sent that resume, is those are correct, or they are expecting some more resume, right? Or maybe there is some fault in the understanding that JD, right? So we want to set up a follow-up meeting with the sender, and that's what this meeting management MCP server comes into the picture. So it will basically, we can use it for scheduling our meeting, right? So based on the sender, it will go ahead and set up a call with the sender, and it will request for a follow-up call, where we can discuss all these requirements in details, and make sure that whatever we have sent is basically based on their expectation. Okay, so they are not expecting something more than that, or if they have something, then maybe we can take further action on that. Okay, so that's the complete flow that we are going to discuss here today. So as I discussed, that our triggering point will be the email that we will get from the vendors. Based on that, we will understand that requirement, our agent will understand that requirement, and it will go and look for resources, resume in the SharePoint. When that resume is with us, that our MCP server will set up that email, it will send that email. After that, it will set up the meeting request. Okay, so that's the flow that we wanted to discuss here. And let's jump into the demo, and I will pass over mic to my friend Sandeep, and he will showcase the demo. So whatever this use case that we have discussed. So Sandeep, you can share your screen, and we can go through
Yes,
the
sir.
demo.
Sure.
Okay.
So, am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you, but oh yeah, it's loading now. Yeah,
Okay,
we can
so
see.
screen is also visible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
So
can see it.
thank you, Mahendra, for explaining in detail like everything what we are going to cover today. So let me start with like I already created this agent. And let me explain that what this agent is going to do. So that is what Mahendra already also explained. Uh, so the very first thing we are going to do, like whenever someone is sending an email for the resource inquiry for any particular opening, it will trigger the agent, and then agent will go in a like agent will do all those activities. The very first thing is like we'll go in a knowledge base, search for the resume, and then it will compose an email and book a meeting with the sender. For that, the tools we are using, that is one meeting management MCP server and email management MCP server. Meeting management, that is what we are using to create a meeting in Microsoft Teams, and the email management MCP we are using to compose and send email. Before it was like if we wanted to create a email, like we can write a prompt and then we'll use the connector, Outlook connector, and then we can write all those steps like compose email, then send email. But as these MCP servers are available, you don't have to do anything else. You will just give the prompt and give the tool like MCP, like whatever the MCP server we want to use, and all those actions will be done by AI as well. So this is the flow. That is what we are going to demonstrate. So the very first thing I'm going to do is like we have an opening like Microsoft. You can see on a Microsoft career.com. You can see we have an opening. So I will use that. I already created some demo resume. So we'll use that for matching candidate. So I will just copy this link and I will send to my work account because that is where agent is connected. So looking for resources and then something uh, looking for and then I will give the link. So let me send this. Let me refresh and I will open Outlook here so we can see that I received that inquiry or not. So let me refresh. So just wait for that email to come and then this agent will run. Yeah, so I got that email and it will take few seconds or like sometimes more than like near about a minute to check that. So I will just wait in my inbox here. Once I will get the response, it means that agent executed all those steps successfully. So let me refresh and wait. So till that we are waiting, I just explained that how it is working. So this image was like the process we are following. And here you can see like whenever we are receiving the email, you can see the execution process. And that is where based on the instruction we given, the AI will create context and then it will create a prompt to search in a SharePoint based on the opening, like whatever requirement we have in that particular link. It will create a prompt to search in a SharePoint folder. Then it will create a next prompt to compose email using MCP server. And then it will create the next prompt to create a meeting. So it is not like that. Whatever instruction we are giving, that is the very top level instruction. Based on that, agent will like the agent generative AI will create another all those prompts that is required to complete this process. So you can see like whenever we are sending an email, the execution process will start and then it will create these prompts, and based on that it will use these tools and knowledge base to run this process. So let me refresh. So you can see I got this email And here, like this complete email is composed by AI. You can see, dear Sandeep, thank you for sending, and you can also see these resumes are already attached. So we can download from there as well. So and so I got this email. The next email I'm waiting for, that is for the meeting. So let me refresh. So let me refresh and I will go here in activities and see that all those steps. So you can see it composed MCP server that is also completed successfully. So might be I should get that email as well. But let me explain that how it is, how I created. So you can see like I created this recruitment AI, and that is where we have like the name, then description, and the most important thing by which it is working, the instructions. So here in instructions, you can see the first line that when a new email arrives, determine it is related to the hiring for a job posting. So we are just mentioning that whenever we are receiving an email, it must be related to a job opening, then only this agent will run. If it is, then see there is a job description link. If there is a link, that is what it will evaluate and see for the opening. The next, compare the job description to the candidate and that are on the free resource. So I already created this folder in SharePoint. So that is where it will go and search for the candidates and find top 3 candidates for a knowledge base, top 3 candidates, and then it will create a reply. To send the email, I'm using email management MCP server. That is what connected here. The next, using the meeting management MCP server, you can see that is also connected. So these two instruction I given, one to write email, another one to create a meeting. And then in knowledge base, I just added a SharePoint folder where we have all those resume. And then we have a trigger, that is email, to send like whenever the email is coming, it will gets triggered and it will run the complete process. So this is a very simple agent we created, and we are just covering one part. But as a business, if you want to add more features like creating and composing a new resume or creating a new proposal, that is where you can use word management MCP server. You can add here. So all those other extra things you want to add, you can add here in tools. Also, if you want to add some other resources in knowledge base, you can add from here. So this is the AI. Now I will show you that how you can do it. So let me uh, take it back here. So we'll just go to the agents whenever you want to create a new agents. So let just open this agent. So let me copy. So for all those who are attending this for the first time and don't know about the Copilot Studio, this is the Copilot Studio home screen. That is where you can go and create any kind of agent. Either it is a single agent or a multi-agent, you can easily create from here. So you will just click on agents, and that is where you can see a link, create blank agent. Uh, there is also option to create agent using AI, but mostly like if you are technical or little bit you have knowledge, it is recommended that you can create agent blank agent, so you will have complete control over there. So let me just, so once you will click on create agent, you will see that it will give you a blank template, blank screen. That is where you can configure everything. So here, once it is ready, you will get the edit button enabled. So let me refresh. Yeah, sometimes it takes time. So let me click on edit. I'll just name it AI maybe version 2. And here you can give the description. So I will just copy the one I have over there. So the whole purpose is like description is not very much important. So it is just to understand, like sometimes if you are calling this agent under any other agent, uh, that agent will able to understand by description. So that's why we use description. Otherwise, in this case, it is not that much important. Here you can see the option. That is where you can select all those models available. So here we have GPT 4.1, GPT chat, GPT 5 auto reasoning. It will take time. So let me select the chat one. So GPT 5 chat. So let me select this. And now, then the most important thing is that is where you will give the instruction. I give an instruction based on this demo, but as much as you want, that is what you can add, like all those steps. The first what the agent will do, and then what the agent will perform after that. So that is what you can add here. So for example, I will just add the one I added. And I already explained, like whenever email is arriving, then it will go in the email, find that uh, the job opening requirement, then it will go to the folder, search for the knowledge base. So now instruction, we created instruction. Then in knowledge base, we'll just go here and we have many more options like you can attach public website, SharePoint, Azure AI search, Dataverse, and Dynamics 365 like sales and customer experience, then Salesforce and Azure SQL as well. So we have all these options. You can also see some more suggestions, advanced things you can see here as well. But in our case, we are going to select SharePoint. I will select SharePoint. Then you can also click here. It will give you a list of all those SharePoint sites available. So in my case, I will go here and then I will use the folder. So let me find that folder. So you can see this folder I have here in previous sources. So I will use this link. So let me directly give that link here at resources and add to the agent. So this is how you can connect with the SharePoint. And then in tools, you will just click on tools. Here you can see we have lot more options. For example, if you click on all, you can see all those options available as a tool. Then we have connectors, especially for all those connectors you want to connect. We also have prompts in some cases, like you just have the input and you want to use the prompt to the get data from that particular input. So you can use that prompt to, for example, sometimes we are getting data and we want to use the prompt to uh, normalize the data in a different format. That is what you can do as a prompt as well. So it is kind of a step where you can use generative AI to uh, convert the input in a different format. So you can use prompt. Then we have flow. Flows are especially like Power Automate flow. So you want to create a step-by-step a kind of logical flow. That is where you will execute something and get the desired result. So in that case, we can use flow. We also have REST API in some cases, like we want to connect with the third-party applications and we don't have any kind of connector. In that case, we can use REST API. And then we have like MCP server, that is what we are talking about. So you will click on this option and you can see these many options are available. So one, that is what I'm using, the meeting management. So you can select that one and you can connect. So add and configure. So basically, like whenever we are using any MCP server, they have a lot more API connected with this server. So you can see all those options over there once you will go in this particular tool. So you can see here as well. So these many options available in this particular server. So if we want to get the calendar, we can get the particular calendar of that person. We can get meetings, we can get rooms. So all those things we can do using this meeting management MCP server. So here in tools, you can see all those things. Then we'll go back and let's go here on the first page. The next thing we can add here, that is email management. So again, we'll go to the MCP servers and we'll find the email one, like email management. And you can see, as I told you, that as per our requirement, if we want to like connect with the Dataverse, or we want to connect with any other application, like for example, Dynamics Customer Service, you can see we have. So if we have those kind of requirement, we can use these kind of MCP servers. So I will just click on email management MCP server, and then I will add and configure. So you can see like it is here. Additional in requirement, you can see like the if you want, like every time whenever like end user credentials or you want to change it, you can also change from here. You want that whenever it will run, it should ask before running. So you can also set that kind of configuration as well. And then again in tools, you can see these many options are available. These many actions can be performed using this MCP server, like send email, reply to the email, get email, list emails, flag email, or forward email. These are the options available in email management MCP server. So we'll just save it and let's go back to the overview. Then you can see we have a knowledge base. We also have tools. And now the last option we need to configure here, that is the trigger whenever email will arrive. So I will select when a new email arrives for V3. I will select this, and here we have lot more options, like from whom you are, all those kind of filters you can set. So it is checking for connections. So let me fix the connection first. Yeah, now it's ready. So next, and here you can see, like if you want to select for a particular folder, so you can select from here. And all these options are available. Then you want that it should only run when you are receiving email from a particular email address. You can select if some emails in CC. So these kind of filters, that is to limit this process to run. For example, we have some limited email address in tool, so that is when it will run in CC. And also from sender, like in sender, if it is just the resume and something.com, so it should run. So that kind of filters we can set. We can also set the subject filter. So based on that, it will run on those particular situations only. I'm just going to leave it blank for every inputs and then create this trigger. So now it's ready. It will take few seconds. Now you can see like this is also ready. So this is our simple agent. I'm not sure that I saved it. Like or you can save, and also you can change icon from here. Edit, you can see, you'll just select, and whatever icons you have on your PC, you can select from here and upload. So this is how easily you can create a recruitment AI, the one we demonstrated here. And you can see like this AI you will able to create, replace, which is able to execute whenever any inquiry is coming. It's going to search in a SharePoint and then create an email and create a meeting as well. So hope it is like you got better clarity that how you can do this process. Now I'm going to hand over the screen to my friend Mahendra.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you for explaining this in detail and showcase this demo for this use case that we are discussing today for the recruitment automation. So yeah, so this is a very good agent AI, you know, Copilot Studio agent that we can easily build, and it's easy to build, but it can perform a very important task, right? So the process that we are doing this automation, that process itself is a very much required by every company, right? So yeah, I think that's what we wanted to cover today. So we will be back with another idea. We
I
will
think there is a question. There is a
another
question
use.
in chat box. How difficult it is for a non-technical HR team to start using Copilot? Like Microsoft, whenever Microsoft developing these kind of low-code, no-code applications, the whole purpose is that even the non-technical person can go and create agents easily. So it is not very difficult. Anybody can go and create, but at least like some technical knowledge is required. But simple agents can be easily created by anybody.
Yeah, so just I want to add something here. So this is like, as Sandeep said, that Microsoft is working on this approach where we are using low code, no code, right? And we use it typical term for this. We call it citizen developers, right? Citizen developers are the resources who are not from the technical background, but they can easily customize the application. They can easily build those application using these low code no code option that is available in the Power Platform, right? Or in this like in the Copilot Studio, these agent things, right? So they can easily build that. But of course, if you want to go for beyond these typical scenarios, and you have some complex requirement where you want to extend that, so you need to have a technical knowledge. But simple scenario, any citizen developer can do that. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us today. So we will be back. So we have
I think one
another
more
question.
question.
Yeah.
Recruit, and then it is totally like how much you are spending on that. The more you will spend, the more strong agent you will have. That definitely going to replace like most of the repetitive works.
Yeah, so that's how like these agents mainly basically to remove this manual work that we do. So we want to do the automation, and so that it should do these things automatically. So we are not any human intervention is not there. We have these automatic tools are there, and that's based on the input they are taking decision, and responding all these ones. So that's why we have these automation here. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us today. We will be back with another use case. Stay tuned. You can see all our session, all our past session on that YouTube channel. You can watch them on the C Sharp Corner Live as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.